Hello, I'm Maral Erol, your disciplinary consultant for social sciences for this course. And in this video, I am going to tell you briefly about academic writing in the social sciences, what it means, what social sciences mean, what are some of the kinds of academic writing that people in the social sciences do. So first of all, let me start with social sciences and what that term means. It is an umbrella term for a number of disciplines that mainly examine human behavior, look at human culture, societies. So they are the kind of people whose unit of analysis is people and what people do and how they behave and the kinds of groups that they form and the cultures that they develop. The list includes disciplines such as psychology, sociology, cultural anthropology, political science, criminology, social work, women's studies. I did not include all of them in this little scheme in here that I have, but there are a number of disciplines that are not covered in here. It's not exhaustive, but generally what they have in common is that they all are interested in what humans do. And the research methods in writing in social sciences are sometimes similar to humanities for some specific disciplines, and sometimes they're closer to natural sciences. So for example, cultural anthropologists are interested in people in groups and cultures and looking at their cultures. And they would do participant observation, meaning they would go and live with, for example, a group of people for a while, try to understand their customs, the ways that they behave. They would take field notes about what they observe. They would interview people and they would analyze and write about these materials. And in most cases, that would put them a place that's similar to humanities. There might sometimes even be overlaps. Psychology, on the other hand, involves, it looks at human behavior, and the way they do it is sometimes they would conduct experiments with people. They would, for example, measure their responses in a lab to some kind of stimulus. They would be measuring some kind of cognitive abilities. They would be performing some tests on them, and they would then write reports about these things, writing lab reports, which puts them a little bit closer to natural scientists who also do experiments in labs and talk about it and write about it. So depending on what specific discipline that you're in social sciences, and that's kind of what makes it a little bit more difficult to define compared to others. You might have different kinds of research methods, different kinds of ways of writing. But I will give you, again, not a very exhaustive list to the types of writing that people in social sciences do. And very broadly, I can say that the types of writing that you would do would either depend on looking at what other people in your discipline writes about, which, for example, is the case with the literature review. When literally that is what it means. You are reviewing the literature, which is what other social scientists in your discipline say. If you're a sociologist, what other sociologists wrote about the topic that you're interested in. The other side of it, after the literature part about what you're writing, has to do with the kind of data that you are bringing into the table. That includes your own original analysis, your own original research, what kind of things that you're researching, and how do you present this. Lab report, for example, would be a good example of that. Lab reports are in the more natural sciences, like social science disciplines such as psychology, where you would be observing an experiment that's going on, and then again in the lab most of the time you would be writing about what happened. You're just reporting back on your observations. An analytical essay would kind of do both of these things. You would be expected to have some kind of a literature review section of an analytical essay, but you would also have your original research that you bring into the table, and you would be expected to analyze the situation, breaking it into little pieces and make sense of what is going on in here. And finally, annotated bibliography is another common form of writing in social sciences. It is similar to literature review, but it comes in smaller chunks. You are writing about other people's books, other people's writings, mostly in the form of an annotated list of references. You would have all the citation information for all of these things, and you would have a small paragraph right under it describing what this book or whatever else that you're looking at does. These are just some of the broader examples, and for more specific examples, I want to give you a little bit of a list about what is out there in terms of free and online sources that gives you more specific information about some social sciences disciplines. This, I think, is a good place to start. You can do your own research about it. The first one is Duke's writing program website, the Writing Studio Resources. It's a link for a kind of like a guideline about writing in disciplines in social sciences, and it has more specific information about anthropology, economics, political science, psychology, and sociology. The second one is from Northwestern University, and the one I chose specifically for that is about international and area studies. And the last one is from all Purdue, and the one I chose, the example I chose there is related to social work. I would recommend that you go take a look at all of these things, especially depending on what kind of discipline that you're interested in. Search for or like look out for the types of writing that they do, and try to get more information about it. But overall, this is, I think, a good place to start researching these things. Thanks for listening, and see you in other videos.